I used to be a serial monogamous. Like, I always wanted to be in a relationship and was constantly kind of on the pursuit, trying to find that person in my life. Romantic relationships are great. They give us so much. They give us romance and companionship. They give us support. You know, they even give us a way of being able to do some deeper kind of like psychological healing, kind of in the context of a relationship like that. So many great benefits. But for me, I realized that it wasn't just about those things, it was also this extra kind of like desperate grasping for something. And anytime that I wasn't in a relationship, I would feel kind of depressed or anxious, as if something was wrong with me. I realized I was asking myself this question often, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? As if to say that if I weren't in a relationship and I was just single, then something was wrong or broken. And that's the messaging that we get from society. It's kind of like, how many times when you've been single have people asked you about dating and, oh, you're not with anybody? Oh, well, don't worry, you're gonna find somebody, and why not? You're so great, right? It's kind of just like all of these messages that say, oh, okay, well, you're single now, but the goal is to be in a relationship and then you'll be okay. So something's probably off now. And that's the kind of bullshit noise that we can internalize and start to believe about ourselves and create some of that kind of anguish or tension whenever we are single. That is toxic single shaming. The problem with this is that if we don't check that fearful part of what motivates us to find a partner, then we're probably gonna be finding the wrong people to be paired up with. We're gonna be staying in relationships that are probably well outdated. And we're also just gonna feel like a failure anytime that we're not in a relationship. And especially for us as gays, it's so easy to feel like if I could just find a partner, then it'll finally validate my sexuality because I can prove that, you know, I can find love too. And that's bullshit. Our sexuality is already totally valid on its own. We don't need a partner to be able to honor that. All right, so what can we do? The first thing is just make sure you're checking in with yourself. If you're feeling anxious about not being in a relationship or maybe kind of being in one that's unfulfilling, normalize that fear. That's like a normal feeling to have. And be able to call out the bullshit conditioning that informs that fear. Because when we're able to do that, then we can see that it's something that's outdated and that we can rewrite that narrative and we can recondition ourselves so that we're not kind of stuck in a loop of thinking that we have to find somebody else in order to be okay or in order to be complete. Fuck that, we're already good. If we find somebody else, amazing, icing on the cake, but this cake is already baked. After that, we also want to check in and make sure that we do have meaningful connections in our lives. We have to have that, so make sure you're investing into family and friends, just other relationships that actually can be a support system for you, because it takes a village, right? Not just kind of one person who's supposed to be our everything. Lastly, and probably most importantly, we also have to make sure that we are super solid here first, that we have a good relationship with our own selves. And so how we do that is we just make sure that we're checking in on the things that actually bring joy to our lives, the things that we kind of like lose track of time when we're doing it, like passion projects, hobbies, that kind of stuff. Because when we do that and when we're engaged in it, do it often, that's how we reparent ourselves, that's how we fulfill ourselves, that's how we complete ourselves. No toxic shaming required.